Okay, so actually, I wish I have been in Morocco, but it's great that the committee of this webinar managed to move all of activities of this meeting online in this difficult time. So today, I'm going to present my work of phygital heritage, communicating built heritage information through the integration of digital technology into physical reality. Um, I'm working as a postdoctoral researcher in digital heritage at Maastricht University in the Netherlands, and also I'm working as an assistant professor in architecture at Asyut University in Egypt. But the work of this presentation, it's based on my PhD study at KU Leuven in Belgium, and the context of this study is built heritage, which expresses the richness and diversity of our common past. So we believe that our monuments are not just physical objects, but they also communicate meanings and values over time. And these meanings and values tend to vary from explicit information, which is relatively easy to represent or communicate, to more tacit qualities and values, which is more challenging to communicate. So examples of tacit knowledge of our heritage, such as architectural qualities, cultural values, artistic features, or symbolic significance. And we are here motivated by the emerging concept of heritage democratization. So the significance of heritage can be appreciated by a broader public, such as to raise community awareness or to enable visitors to appreciate heritage in experiential ways. And how this tacit knowledge is being conveyed to visitors in conventional ways, using labels beside objects or orally communicated by a tour guide or by an audio tour guide. But this information is complex and multidimensional. So digital technologies have also enabled various opportunities for communicating this information via a variety of paradigms, such as virtual reality or augmented reality. But we still seek a communication process that can be more engaging, more informative, more collaborative, and potentially enjoyable. And this can be tangible interaction, which emphasizes the tangibility and the materiality of the interface. And why tangible interaction? Because it's a promising paradigm, and the touch experience causes better remembering of the information. It's also collaborative, affordable, and easy to learn. And all of these advantages are relevant for communicating the information of heritage. So we have physical and digital. Each has different key qualities. Physical, which is the most common in communication, we have, for example, the affordance, how the physical form demonstrates the possibility of an action and how the information can be visualized in a physical way. Situatedness, meaning how the information relies on the physical context to be understood. But also we have other qualities from the digital realm. So the digital technology allows for an immediate access for different layers of information, and it can be automatically personalized, and it also allows for an immersive experience. So that's why here we propose the integration of digital technology into the physical reality, and we came up with the term phygital. And we believe that phygital heritage is a potential medium for more enriched and playful communication of heritage meanings and values. So I propose a model of phygital heritage, where the horizontal axis represents the physical, so the level of physical affordance, such as how the features of an interface physically supports or facilitate taking an action, while the vertical axis conveys the level of situatedness, or how the technology depends on the physical context to communicate the information. So here, for example, we have websites. Most websites are non-situated in nature, allowing users to appreciate digital information of heritage regardless of their location. While on the other hand, for example, we have here projection mapping, which is more situated, as the graphical depiction of the information can be directly and physically related to the artifact on which the projection occurs. Shape-changing interface, when the artifact becomes the output medium as the interface becomes embodied by the physical shape. And also there are many communication technologies which are located in the model, and the model considers that almost every communication technology is phygital in some way or form, but some are more phygital than others. Accordingly, the model proposes three distinct categories of phygital heritage: augmented, integrated, and actuated. And the main question here is how can phygital heritage facilitate the communication of built heritage information to museum visitors? So we have here built heritage as a context, and the communication of the information is the intended outcome, while the phygital heritage is our approach. So we investigated some phygital approaches to communicate heritage information through 4 experimental studies, mainly from the collaboration with the Royal Museum of Art and History in Brussels. So the first study, we investigated the role of tangible interaction to communicate tacit knowledge of built heritage. And we choose here Zoser Pyramid Complex. It's believed to be the oldest large-scale stone structure in the world. And the chosen story to be communicated was related to the entrance colonnade, as it has been suggested that the architecture of the colonnade represented the map of ancient Egypt. So each niche, which is the space between 2 adjacent columns, represent one of the nomes, which is the territorial division of ancient Egypt. And the end chamber could represent also the delta, and the processing of the pharaoh along the corridor and passing by each niche may evoke a ritualized version of the pharaoh's journey along the Nile. So we designed, implemented, and experimented 3 different conditions. Each condition has an interactive navigation as an input and passive representation as an output of the building. So here, the first condition, when you move your finger along the Nile on a touch screen showing the map of ancient Egypt, you have a corresponding walkthrough on the building on the big screen. And for the second condition here, we have a tangible installation of the map of ancient Egypt with a 3D printed statue of the pharaoh. And when you move the pharaoh physically along the Nile, then you have a corresponding walkthrough on the building on the other screen. For the third condition, we have the same tangible installation of the map of ancient Egypt with a 3D printed statue of the pharaoh. And we have the representation, which is a maquette, 3D maquette of the building with LEDs in each niche. And when you move the statue along the Nile, then you have the LED light on the corresponding niche. And also for the third condition, the visitors, they were allowed to grasp it, they can feel it, they can touch it, they can have an eye-level view. And we have also 3D printed small figurines to give you a sense of scale, and also we 3D printed the columns with the details of the columns. So we started this study with a low fidelity test session at our research lab. And this test was followed by a pilot study in a real world museum environment. And then we carried out the large scale study at the Royal Museum of Art and History in Brussels. And the evaluation study deployed a mixed methodology consisting of observation. So the resulting observation data was chronologically mapped for each participant and then labeled in terms of user behavior, such as whether the participants was focusing on the navigation, the map, or the representation, the building, or both simultaneously, or whether they started discussing with each other. Also, participants were invited to participate in a semi-structured interview that focused on whether and how they understood the tacit knowledge of the colonnade, such as the symbolic relationship between the map and the building. They were also requested to estimate the dimensions of the colonnade by sketching a cross-section on the grid paper. And here we see how participants, they remember different qualities of the building, such as, for example, the different heights here, and also how they remember the details of the columns. Participants were also asked to fill in a standard user experience questionnaire. And here we can see that the last condition, the pure tangible physical condition, has a more positive performance in most of the skills, the attractiveness, the efficiency, and dependability. And this is the second study. We carried out this study in which we investigated how augmented reality enhances the communication of the architectural context of an isolated relief from the Nimrud Palace in Iraq, which was exhibited totally out of context at the Royal Museum of Art and History in Brussels. And also as an exceptional motivation is the original palace has been recently destroyed by ISIS. So we digitally reconstructed the room where the object was located, and it was done in an abstract visualization because of the uncertainty of the information, and we emphasized some architectural features. And then we developed an augmented reality application. So here, this is a real object exhibited at the museum in Brussels, and when you open the camera of the iPad and you point it to the object, then you can see the room of the palace where the object was located. And also you can look around and you can see the room from the different angles and you can see the different architectural features of that room. And we also deployed mixed methods to evaluate the experience. So for example, here we have the pre-task interview. We invited visitors to conventionally visit the artifact by looking at the object and probably reading the labels beside it. Then we asked them some questions to evaluate what they learned and whether they were able to contextualize the artifact or not. And then we give them the iPad and they have the augmented reality experience. And we have here the observation. So we investigated the angle of view in their augmented reality experience for each participant as an intuitive interaction and also after telling them that they can look around. And they were also invited to participate in a semi-structured interview that focused on understanding the architectural surroundings of the original context. And they were also requested to describe the appearance of the room by sketching two papers, one in 2D for the close surroundings of the object and one in 3D for the entire appearance of the room where the object was located. And we have here very interesting results from this sketching in terms of remembering the different architectural features. They have also the user experience questionnaire that allowed them to express their impressions that emerged when they interact with the application, such as how the application was good, inventive, motivated, attractive, and so on. The third study, we moved from the museum to a real heritage environment. So we investigated the deployment of an interactive projection mapping installation in situ, which can be steered by a tangible user interface to communicate the spatio-temporal transformation of built heritage. So our case study here is a medieval chapel in the eastern part of Belgium that has several building phases during about 900 years. So we choose three important building phases to communicate to the visitors. And we built the models both digitally using 3D software and also physically by 3D printing them. And we designed an interface that users can steer the digital model by placing the corresponding physical model on the platform. So visitors can choose one of the building phases, and by controlling the projector using the two hands, then they can see how this phase looked like in the past, seeing the projected visualizations on the walls and the ceiling of the chapel. So here, this is our platform. You choose one of the models and you put it here on the platform, and then you have the two hands of the projector, and you can see how the chapel looked like in the 13th century. For example, these two windows don't exist anymore, and you can see how the ceiling looked like in the past. In our last study, we combined the phygital experience with the gamification approach to support cultural learning for young museum visitors. And our case study, it's an original ancient Egyptian tomb chapel in a scale 1:1 at the museum in Brussels. It's a masterpiece for school visits because the history of Egypt is part of their educational curriculum. So we organized a co-design workshop with heritage professionals to define three types of tacit knowledge to communicate. And we have here the architectural qualities, about the false door, and the historical values about the different types of offering, and the artistic features, so the role of color to distinguish the gender. And our methodology supports different styles of collaboration and gamification. So we designed three different game setups to communicate three different types of information: the architectural, historical, and artistic. And here, this is chosen part of the internal wall, and then we built a replica of that wall in a scale 1 to 1 to be located outside the tomb. And it consists of 3 games with a shared progress bar. And when participants complete each game, more information is revealed to them. And the installation is located outside the tomb. So I show you a short video here. This is an installation with the 3 games with a shared progress bar. The first one, we ask the children to solve a 3D puzzle in groups. And then after they solve the puzzle, they have here a hint that it's correct, but they have to figure out where to put on the replica wall. And so they go inside and then they put it on the replica wall using strong magnets. And after that, more information is revealed to them about the false door in ancient Egypt. The second game, we ask them to sort different cards, magnetic cards about the different types of offering in ancient Egypt. And for each correct card, they have 1 LED in the progress bar. After that, they have also information about the offerings in Egypt. The third game, we give them magnetic cards to distinguish the gender. So for example, whether the figure was painted in dark or in light. If it's in dark, that means a man. In light, that means a woman. So they go inside, they check it, and then they put it on the wall, and then they have different cards. And also we designed it in a multi-language interface, so we can easily change it from French to English or Dutch. And after that, we designed a child-friendly user experience questionnaire using the Lego blocks, so that children, they can evaluate their experience, whether it's like, informative, creative, and so on. So overall, the approach of phygital heritage promises to communicate heritage information in more engaging, educational, and meaningful ways. And the work presented today demonstrates how heritage information can be disclosed via simultaneous and integrated physical and digital means, enabling the broader public to appreciate heritage in more experiential ways. Yeah, thank you so much for your attention.